Good afternoon. I'm FOX29 meteorologist Kathy Orr. We have a tornado warning in effect for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45. This was a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. The National Weather Service saying that this storm was over Kutztown, or 15 miles northeast of Reading, moving toward the east at 30 miles an hour. The danger is flying debris that will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Now let's take a look at this storm. It's moving east, as I mentioned, to the northeast as well at about 30 miles an hour, and we're going to do a storm track on this cell. As I isolate it, you'll be able to see the areas of concern in this storm's way. We're talking about Allentown, Emmaus, Kutztown, Fleetwood, Tompton, Lyons, Ancient Oaks, Clausville, Macungie, and Albertus. So this is the area of concern that we're talking about right now. We're going to do a storm track and show you, if you live in this area, please get into an interior room of your home and wait until this dangerous storm passes. As I mentioned, the storm is moving toward the east at about 30 miles an hour, and at that speed and direction, it will be in Upper Macungie at about 6:31. It will be in Lower Macungie by about 6:36. It will be in South Whitehall at 6:40 and in Allentown at 6:44. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for parts of Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45. These are the towns we're looking at: Upper Macungie, Lower Macungie, Allentown, Emmaus. The storm passing by Kutztown as we speak. With this, torrential downpours. We have a lot of high humidity, damaging winds expected with tree damage potential, and also if power lines come down, obviously we could have power outages as well. This is very heavy rain on top of damaging winds, the possibility of hail, and of course the rotation possible of this dangerous thunderstorm. If I step out, you can see the lightning and heavy rain associated with it traveling right along 78 and heading between Berks and Lehigh counties. You're familiar with this area, of course, if you go toward Dorney Park or if you go anywhere near the airport. This is all moving toward the east in that direction. Easton, not in the warning, but seeing some heavy rain, as well as Nazareth. This is between Berks and Lehigh counties right now. So as we take a look at this, the National Weather Service put out the tornado warning because they saw some indicators that would show potential for rotation in the storm. As we take a closer look, we'll be able to see what those indicators are. So as far as the hail is concerned, that's one of the things that we typically look for in these types of storms. Hail trackers to see exactly which direction the storm is moving in, seeing some hail associated with this. Another thing that we look at is a shear tracker, which shows us the winds moving in different directions, and that is an indication as well. This storm also has frequent lightning associated with it. As we take a closer look at the storm, moving east, as I mentioned, at approximately 30 miles an hour. This is the storm that we're talking about right here on Ultimate Doppler. So right now, moving along 78 near Eagle Point through Kutztown. Tompton is on the southern part of this particular warning, and on the north end, Low Hill, heading right along 78 in the Upper Macungie neighborhood. So if you live in this area, please go to an interior room of your home and wait until this dangerous storm passes. These are the safety tips that we usually talk about here. Of course, when you have any type of warning, go to your basement, an interior room of your home, away from the windows, and wait until this dangerous storm passes. This tornado warning in effect for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45 tonight. Of course, damaging winds associated with a tornado. This particular storm has a history of damaging winds. We've been watching it throughout the afternoon, and it was a part of a cluster of storms that was out in central Pennsylvania moving eastward, originally a severe thunderstorm. The National Weather Service saw that there was rotation within the storm, and that's when they issued the severe thunderstorm warning for this particular cell. So when we're looking at this, we're looking for rotation, we're looking for the possibility of hail, and we're also looking for the rotation within the thunderstorm. These thunderstorms that are moving eastward are packing a punch, heavy rain associated with them, obviously, and damaging winds. Additional thunderstorms are expected during the evening. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch for the entire area until 11 o'clock tonight. So as we take a closer look at the storm, Right now, we'll put on the storm trackers to see where the rotation is located and if we have any additional damage already from this particular storm. One of the elements of this, when you have a severe thunderstorm, this is, you can see there's a little icon right here that I'm going to click, that this is where the National Weather Service saw the initial rotation right along 78. And you can see that little icon right there associated with the potential for the funnel cloud or that rotating thunderstorm. So this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. The National Weather Service saw the rotation on the Doppler radar and indicators and put out this particular warning as a result. So if I click on that, you'll be able to see a live video was received of a funnel cloud at this location looking east. And if we take a zoom in on that location, I'll be able to show you exactly where the video was taken from, and we'll effort to get that video. So this is where a funnel cloud was spotted. You can see right here on Mountain Road on 78 between Sunday Road, Mountain Road, Ennis Way, right along 78 in part of to the east of Hamburg in Berks County, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So we will take a storm track of that part of the storm where the rotation is located, moving east at 30 miles an hour, and here's your storm track. If you live in Upper Macungie, the storm is expected to be in your neighborhood by about 6:34, which is only 3 minutes away. In Ancient Oaks by 6:36, and Lower Macungie by 6:39, Emmaus by 6:46, and Emmaus Junction by 6:47. A funnel cloud was taken by video just moments ago, as we saw and indicated on our Doppler radar. The National Weather Service also got a report, a video taken of a funnel cloud, and said, okay, this looks like it's a potential tornado. Of course, a funnel cloud is a rotating column of air that is coming down and hasn't touched the ground just yet. But they did get some indications on the ground that there was potentially a tornado on the ground, but no confirmation on that just yet. But a Doppler radar indicated tornado with video of a funnel cloud, enough to have the National Weather Service put out the tornado warning. It's located right here along 78 in Berks County, crossing over into parts of the upper part of Lehigh County. If you're familiar with Upper Macungie, Ancient Oaks, if you live near Lower Macungie, this severe storm, potentially a tornado, is moving toward your neighborhood as we speak. So go to interior room of your home and wait until this storm passes. If you live in Emmaus, a very populated area, 6:46 is the timing for you. So if anybody's outside barbecuing, playing ball, perhaps swimming, make sure they get inside and wait until the storm passes. 6:47, Emmaus Junction. That's when we expect the storm to be toward you. But this tornado warning in effect for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45. So if we take a closer look at the storm itself, we're talking about large hail possibly with this. Also the possibility of some flooding just because of the heavy rain. The rain rates with these storms are about 1 to 3 inches an hour. Fortunately, the storm is not going to be staying over an area for that period of time, but you can see the hail indicator right now as we're looking at the storm as well. So this severe thunderstorm packing a punch, many different concerns with this particular storm. So as we take a closer look of the area of concern, we can see if there is any additional hail associated with it, or if there's any other concerns with this particular storm. We do know that the rain rates are very high, and we do know that the wind is extreme potentially with this as well. So as we take a look at the radar and also look at the rain rates right here, as we look right along between 78 and 322, that's where we have the heaviest rain, and that is where we had the rotation with the storm. So along 78 between, let's see, Maxitawny, Fogelsville, heading toward Upper Macungie, that is the area of concern. Once again, that tornado warning in effect until 6:45 for Berks and Lehigh counties. A Doppler radar indicated tornado moving east at 30 miles an hour. The locations impacted including Allentown, Emmaus. It already moved by Kutztown, Fleetwood, Tompton, Lyons, Ancient Oaks, Montgomery, and Albertus, including the northeast extension between mile markers 50 and 60. Call and let them know that this storm, potentially dangerous storm, is in the neighborhood. Interstate 78 in Pennsylvania, which we've been talking about, mile markers between 39 and 57. So please heed the warnings. Go to an interior room of your home away from the windows, preferably in the basement. Wait until the storm passes. If anybody's on the way to your home for the afternoon, let them know that along 78, 322, that is the vicinity of this dangerous thunderstorm, which could potentially be a tornado. We do have a new warning that is coming into effect. We're going to take a look at that one right now. All right, I'm talking to the control room right now. If someone could print that out and bring that to me, I'd appreciate that. Looking at our storm tracks right now. We're going to put our computer into motion as we see a line of thunderstorms beginning to form here, and putting on our warning criteria. We have word of new warnings coming into the Weather Center as we speak. So we're going to take a look at these. Okay, here we go. This is a secondary warning. Right now moving toward the east. This severe thunderstorm, which potentially could be a tornado, moving toward Montgomery County. And we are going to put a tracker on this storm as well. All right, let's take a look at this. Robeson right along 422, heading toward the east-northeast. A secondary warning has just popped up on our radar here for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery counties. This is a new tornado warning. Tornado warning in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. So as we take a look at this, you can see the cell right here that's moving eastward fairly quickly. We have a lot of lightning associated with this. This is a new severe thunderstorm, possibly a tornado that is moving toward the east. We're going to get the stats on this within seconds so we can let you know exactly where this storm is headed. You can see the M area of 422 toward Pottstown, 176. It's moving from Berks County into Chester, the northeastern corner of Chester County, and into Montgomery County. This cell has a history, obviously, of damaging winds, hail, some torrential downpours, and as I put this into motion, you can see the direction we're talking about. It's an only line moving east, heading toward Amity, Douglas, potentially Pottstown, and Fagleyville. Limerick is just outside of the warning area. A new tornado warning. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. The National Weather Service has issued this. It was a severe thunderstorm showing some rotation, and this is moving toward the east, southeast. It's right along 422, along 176, where the two intersect, moving toward the east at about 20 and 30 miles an hour. Thank you so much. So this is the latest from National Weather Service. At 6:33, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Birdsboro or near Reading, moving east at 20 miles an hour. The areas of concern are Reading, Pottstown, Birdsboro, Betchelsville, Gilbertsville, Cedarville, Stowe, Boyertown, St. Lawrence, Pottsgrove, South Pottstown, Amity Gardens, Sanatoga, Kenilworth, Flying Hills, and Halfway House. If you live in this vicinity, please go to an interior room of your basement and wait until this dangerous storm passes. We're going to take a look at the see if there's any hail or any type of damage that's been reported with these storms. We have our local storm reports that will be popping up in our storm tracks to show us rotation or any type of hail that's associated with this. Frequent lightning, torrential downpours as well with these storms. As we take a look at our hail trackers, because these storms do have a history of hail associated with them and the potential for shear. Shear is when we see the air moving at different speeds and directions in the atmosphere. As we take a look at this storm on ultimate Doppler, we can see there is very heavy rain associated with it. It is over Exeter right now along 422, moving east at 20 miles an hour. We're going to continue to see heavy rain with this, the potential for damaging winds, and of course, with this tornado warning, the wind, the hail, the big problem, there's frequent lightning in there as well. So these damaging winds associated with a potential tornado in the area of Berks County, even into parts of northeastern Chester County and into northern Montgomery County. So this warning is going to continue until 7 o'clock tonight in those areas. If you live in this area, you know it's a very busy stretch along 422. We have to keep a careful eye on this as well, as obviously there's a lot of outdoor activities going on as well. So if you know anyone that's in this vicinity that's traveling along 422, is near Earlsville, right along the highways, the smaller highways and interstates that are in the region, please give them a call. Let your friends and family know that we have a tornado warning. Rotating thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's moving east at 20 miles an hour, and at that speed and direction, it will be in the vicinity of all of our local communities. As you can see here, Amity around 6:45, around Amity Garden at about 6:46, New Hanover at approximately 6:57, and in Pottstown around 6:59. So this tornado warning, very heavy rain associated with this, downpours, potential for flooding with rain rates between about 1 and 3 inches an hour, and of course damaging winds associated with this. So when we talk about the wind, we're generally talking about 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds potentially with these storms. There is obviously some spin in the atmosphere today, so we did have concern of the severity of storms. So obviously if you have a straight line thunderstorm wind or if you have a rotating wind, there is potential for damage. We always talk about turn around, don't drown, so you never want to walk or drive into an area that is covered with water. And of course, in any type of tornado situations, we want to make sure that you're safe. Go to the basement, an interior room of your home, and stay away from the windows, because with these types of storms, we always hear of damage, obviously, falling trees that are obviously a hazard. Mobile homes are threatened as well. Any type of structures that are out there that aren't secure, they could be damaged. So please take these warnings seriously and make sure that everyone is safe as these dangerous storms pass on through. So we are keeping a watch on 2 tornado warnings, one that is in the Lehigh Valley for Berks and Lehigh County. That is in effect for a few more minutes. That is until 6:45. And the newest warning in effect for Berks, the northeastern corner of Chester and Montgomery counties until 7 o'clock. So these storms packing a punch, torrential downpours, frequent lightning, obviously the possibility of hail with this, and also damaging winds. Winds in excess of 60, 70 miles an hour that can take down trees and obviously create some damage. The area we're concerned about right now is right along 422, which is a very popular route in this part of the Delaware Valley. You can see through Birdsboro, Amity right now moving toward the east at 20 miles an hour. So the areas of concern are Upper Pottsgrove, Pottstown, even Cedarville as the storms continue to move toward the east. 20 miles an hour is not a very fast speed, so it will be obviously pouring for a while in this particular area. So we also have concerns of flooding. So if anyone's traveling along this route in your family, give them a call, give them a heads up and say no go for 422 at least until after 7 o'clock in this area, just because of the heavy rain. The rain rates creating flash flooding on area roads, which makes it very difficult to see if there's any flooding ahead that you should not be driving into, or if there's any potential for wind damage during this tornado warning. So you want to make sure you stay off the roads as well. So this is the area of concern that we're talking about. I'm going to take off the radar so you can see exactly what we're talking about. This is a severe area. There is obviously lightning associated with it. There is hail with the storm as well. This is the area of concern where the storm was initially located over Berks County. It was near Birdsboro, moving east at 20 miles an hour. So right now, these are all of the towns through Birdsboro toward the east. As we get closer into Browns Mill, Westridge, Amity, Cider Mill Run, Pine Forge, Colebrookdale, also Upper Pottsgrove, West Pottsgrove, some smaller communities in this area as well that we'll highlight right along 422. This is the area that we are concerned of. North Coventry is in there as well, Lower Pottsgrove, Fricks Lock, New Hanover. This is where the storm is, and as I mentioned, it is moving east at about 20 miles an hour. So as we put the radar back on and into motion, you'll be able to see the direction under which it's moving in the last hour, so we can get a gauge how quickly it will be moving through. So we'll have about 15 minutes left on this warning, and we're going to watch to see if the National Weather Service will allow part of this to expire as it moves toward the east and hopefully weakens. We know that there's hail associated with it, some very strong winds, and of course torrential downpours as well. As we continue to look across the rest of the Delaware Valley, there are additional thunderstorms that are popping up. And we're also looking at additional icons. These are reports that have come in regarding tornadoes. You can see these tornado markers in Harrisburg. Additional cell, there was a report of a funnel cloud. And earlier we saw this funnel cloud being reported near Hamburg, which was a video of a funnel cloud. So definitely some spin in the atmosphere this afternoon with the latest storms moving through and additional storms expected, damaging winds, large hail, and also obviously the potential for some flash flooding in these storms as well. This tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery counties until 7 o'clock this evening. As we do our storm track on this, we're seeing it still fairly strong, fairly potent, keeping together, which the atmosphere is so humid that it makes sense that this is not losing any steam. By 6:49, the storm will be in Pine Forge, Douglas by 6:55, New Hanover by 6:59, Pottstown around 7 o'clock, and Upper Frederick at 7:06. So this is part of a group of thunderstorms that have been moving through the region throughout the afternoon. We've been keeping a careful eye on them, and we do also have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the entire region, and that is going to continue until 11 o'clock tonight. So as we look at these severe storms, as we continue with the storms, any storm is going to have downpours. They may cause flooding, wind gusts that will be damaging, and the storms will have hail as well. So these storms will be packing a punch throughout the entire evening as we continue to have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect, or thunderstorm watch rather in effect. Tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery counties. Right now this cell is the strongest cell that we have out there. Still keeping an eye on the thunderstorm that's in Allentown, but that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. That's the good news. This is the only one that we're watching now, but a serious situation as the storm continues to move from the east toward areas of Chester and Montgomery County. So keeping a careful eye on this storm as it continues to press eastward. With this storm, we do expect potential for damaging winds and obviously hail associated with it as well. So these storms have a history of hail, very heavy rain, and also the potential for damaging winds as well. Flooding concerns with these storms, we're checking for a rotation with it. There have been reports in previous storms of damage due to these storms that have been passing through, large hail with these storms, and also the possibility of flash flooding because the rain is falling at such a high rate. So that is something we're definitely going to keep an eye on as the storm moves eastward. So with this storm moving east at 20 miles an hour, it is going to be allowed to dump a lot of rain in a short period of time, and generally we usually see 2 to 3 inches an hour. Right now along Route 422 we're seeing the rain rate at about 2.95 inches an hour. It's been in the same area for a while, so we know there's potential for flooding in this area, along with potential for a rotating thunderstorm that could create a tornado. So that's something we're being very watchful of, and we're watching this move toward the east, and as it does, it's going to be dumping heavy rain, the potential for some damaging winds, and also hail with these storms as well. They do have a history of that. We're talking about the area right along 422 near Browns Mills right now into Amity. It is moving east along 422 and Upper Pottsgrove, the storm beginning to enter there, West Pottsgrove, Pottstown, North Coventry, Lower Pottsgrove into New Hanover. So if you live in this area, please make sure you get into an interior room of your home and wait until this storm passes. As we take a look at ultimate Doppler right now, you can see there is obviously some very heavy rain associated with this. There is some hail associated with this, and additional storms moving in from the west as well. So these are going to continue to pop up. Over to the west, you can see there have been reports of funnel clouds. One that was in Berks County earlier. This was video that was taken that the National Weather Service has reported that has been sent in. So there's our potential tornado there, and then others to the west. So reports in central and southeastern Pennsylvania of video of funnel clouds. So we'll see. The National Weather Service saw a rotating thunderstorm with this particular storm and immediately put out this tornado warning. So once again, this tornado warning is in effect for parts of Berks County, northeastern Chester County, and also into northern Montgomery County until 7 o'clock tonight. So at the speed and direction that we're looking at the storm moving eastward at 30 miles an hour. So that means the storm will be in Upper Pottsgrove at 6:52, Pottstown 6:56, Lower Pottsgrove at about 6:58, and North Coventry approximately 7 o'clock. And then if the storm continues, it will push on toward Limerick as well in a weakened form. But that is what we're into. Upper Pottsgrove, Lower Pottsgrove, and Pottstown will be, and then North Coventry. So once again, a dangerous storm that you have to make sure you let everyone you know that possibly could be on the road that this storm is on its way, and it's going to be a problem for a while. As we widen out, there are some other storms in the vicinity. Nothing is severe right now, but we have a lot of humidity in the atmosphere, and as we do, more storms are expected to pop up with the potential of them being severe right into the late evening hours. And when you have one of these storms, you could be driving along the road. Right now, 422 is the area of concern, and it looks fine, and all of a sudden it gets dark, and you start to see the rain, and then the lightning, and then the hail, and then that's the potential. Next would be for a rotating thunderstorm. So these storms packing strong winds. I mean, we're talking about potential for 80, 90 mile an hour winds when you have a tornado warning. The storm dumping some heavy rain. You see the hail indicator there. They have a history of quarter size, even greater, larger hail is with them as well. Amity seeing the heavy rain right now and moving toward Pottstown as we speak. So we're going to continue to watch this until the threat is passed. Right now we have about 7 minutes left on the warning. And as I mentioned, through Douglas, Pottstown 422 continues to move out of parts of Berks County and a little corner of Chester County into Montgomery County, Chester right here near East Coventry, which is in the warning. Then you have 422, and then this is northern Montgomery County. If you live in the neighborhood near Pottstown, you may hear a rumble of thunder. That's the tornado warning, so please get everyone inside and wait until this storm passes. We also know in Douglas, you are on the northern end of this warning, and you can see the heavy rain associated with it, with this cell as it continues to press on eastward. So a tornado warning that will stay in effect for the next couple of minutes with additional thunderstorms and severe weather expected into the evening. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock tonight for additional thunderstorms with this very warm and humid air mass. So as we go through the next several hours, we are going to continue to see the potential for these storms to be popping up. We have another cell that's moving through Berks County right now, but that is not severe. Another one heading out of Lancaster County into Chester County, but that is not severe either. So our only severe cell is this one tornado warning, as we keep an eye on the area of concern through parts of Berks, northern Chester, and Montgomery counties. So we're going to keep a careful watch on this particular storm. So right now, the storm is over Earlville, Browns Mill, Amity, moving toward Pine Forest as we speak and dumping an enormous amount of rain. And one of the biggest concerns with this, obviously, aside from the hail and the damaging winds, is the rain rate and potential for flooding. We always say, turn around, don't drown, never drive in an area that is covered with water. And these rain rates, I mean, look at that. That's intense. This is 4.22 inches an hour. So we know the storm hasn't been over there for an hour, but that's dumping a quick 1 to 3 inches in a very short period of time. So any area of poor drainage is going to see flash flooding. So please never drive across the road covered with water. This is just north of 422, and you can see not far from Earlville as well. So this area stretching the interior part of the storm, it's not only damaging winds associated with a tornado, but it's just dumping rain that is not safe to be on the road when you're seeing this kind of heavy rain. Also hail associated with it, so you just don't want to be outside when we're seeing this type of active weather. And this is a possibility through the evening hours. Once we lose our daytime heating, we're hoping that a lot of this activity is going to fall apart and diminish, but still keeping a careful eye on these storms because they definitely are energized by the heat and humidity that we have had today. As we take another track and update the track of this storm as it moves eastward, we'll be able to see the storm and how quickly it's going to be moving into West Pottsgrove. So we have West Pottsgrove at 6:57, Pottstown right around 7 o'clock, and Upper Pottsgrove at about 7:01. So this is the storm that we have been watching for the past several minutes, a tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County. We're going to be watching it move out of Berks County and heading into the northern parts of Chester and also the upper part of Montgomery County. And it now looks like this area has been expanded.
Hey, Kath.
Yes.
It's Sheba. Jason and I are out here because you've been on the air for more than 30 minutes now and really doing a wonderful job keeping all of us updated on this tornado warning. Now, you said initially there had been some video taken of a funnel cloud near Hamburg. Have there been any reports of this funnel cloud touching the ground yet?
No. And when we have a report of a funnel cloud, it's generally a rotating thunderstorm, and they have a picture of the funnel coming down but not touching the ground. So that's why the tornado warning was issued for parts of Berks and Lehigh County. It was Doppler radar indicated, and they saw a video of the funnel cloud. So that was kind of like a no-brainer to put that one out. Then another rotating thunderstorm was captured on Doppler radar. Shear was indicated. That's like a change of wind in direction, wind direction and speed as you go up in the atmosphere. So shear is an indicator, and that's why this tornado warning was issued for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery counties. Now it's just been expanded to 7:30. You can see initially it was just for the northern part of Chester County into northern parts of Montgomery County, but now it's been expanded further east until 7:30 in the afternoon. So, or I should say in the evening. So this is the area of concern. If I take off the radar, Sheba, I'll be able to show you the expansive area that we're talking about. So there's a lot of lightning with this, and there's a big concern for flash flooding as well, because these storms are dumping about 2 to 4 inches of rain an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about now. It's expanded eastward into Upper Frederick, into Limerick. If you're familiar with this area, obviously Limerick has outlets that are very highly populated. 422 heading toward the south as you get farther into our suburbs. And this isn't even far from, King of Prussia and a lot of our northern western suburbs. This is part of it. So this tornado warning continuing into Montgomery County now expanded until 7:30 this afternoon.
And this is a slow moving system, which I'm sure you're not surprised that this has been extended till 7:30 now.
No, not at all. And I think that's exactly why. So you have this cell that's been sitting there for a little while. And we talked about the rain rates with this. When you see a rain rate of, this is 3 to 4 inches of rain in an hour, that's a very big concern for flash flooding. So we do talk about, turn around, don't drown, never drive across a road that's covered with water. I mean, this is a perfect example of something that hasn't moved. So I would think that in this area, we've already had a couple inches of rain, and this thing is moving fairly slow. It's moving east at 20 miles an hour, but it also feels like it's taking a very long time to move eastward. Upper Pottsgrove, also into Douglas, this is our area of concern. A lot of times we see these storms, obviously tropical downpours when you have temperatures in the 80s and you have high humidity. It is just like a sponge that you're wringing out, and it creates big problems on area roads for sure.
Yeah, it is nasty out there. It's nasty out there. We were talking about just how humid it is out there and the potential for storms. But now here we are in this tornado warning, Kath.
Yeah, so this continues until 7:30. Now, the new warning, we have the storm moving at the same speed. So when you have a storm that's moving about 20 to 30 miles an hour, if we do a track on this, we can see how quickly it's going to be in this area. So with the National Weather Service extending this warning, it is going to go right into places beyond Lower Pottsgrove, into Lower Frederick, into Limerick, into around 7:15, 7:20. So we have to be watchful for that as well. So if you know anybody that's traveling any of these highways, it's a very busy night with travelers and parties and fireworks and barbecues. Just make sure that you give them a call and let them know that we have a storm that's moving right through the neighborhood. So 7:03 for Pottstown, so that's only minutes away. Lower Pottsgrove, 7:07, Frederick, 7:12, Limerick, 7:17, Lower Frederick at 7:18. So we're dealing with extremely heavy rain, we're dealing with frequent lightning, we're dealing with the possibility of hail, and we're also dealing with damaging winds. So Sheba, in these types of storms, we're talking about a severe thunderstorm. We usually talk about winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, but in a tornado warning area, there's potential for 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds plus, depending on the strength of it. This looks like a flooding threat. It looks like a wind threat. Also, the possibility is of hail as well.
Are you seeing any damage reports? I know sometimes those pop up on your radar. Are you seeing anything like that? I know there's lightning in the area, possibility for hail, but any damage reports yet?
Not yet. If I widen out, I can show you the past. There is our this one indicator right here that a funnel cloud was spotted. This is a storm report. Let's see.
Right where that little purple dot is right there?
See that little red dot? That is where a funnel cloud was spotted.
Okay.
Video was received from this location of a funnel cloud south of Reading and west of Birdsboro. So when the National Weather Service gets reports like this, that is obviously gives more confidence, additional confidence to a radar report or anything indicated on Doppler radar that, okay, we also have confirmation on the ground as well as on the radar. So that, gives us even more confidence issuing this warning that if it touches the ground, which there could be an indicator as well, then obviously we need to put out this warning. So we've seen a bunch of those indicators to the west. I mean, look at all of these funnels. Oh. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 of these. A little bit farther to the north, we had one earlier. You can see this was another one of those reports that the National Weather Service received, and it was reports of separate funnel clouds, circulation of one, and confirmed as tornadoes with structure and tree damage. So this was to the west of the Delaware Valley, but these have been popping up throughout the afternoon and the early evening. So indications that there's obviously people that have been able to get video of these, and Doppler radar indicating that there have been some rotation within thunderstorms to cause concern that this could be a tornado. So when you have that ground truth as well, definitely gives more confidence with the warning.
Besides the humidity, Kathy, what else in the atmosphere would spawn a tornado today? What conditions would make it right?
We look for shear indicators, and shear indicators are when we see the speed and direction of the wind changing as you go up in the atmosphere, and that's another indication. Also, we look for hail signatures on the radar, which we've seen some of that today as well. And then when you see ground truth, when you have people on the ground taking videos and you actually see a funnel cloud, you're like, it's it's a very good indication that something is going on and there could possibly be a tornado. Obviously, when you see the funnel cloud, it has to touch the ground to be considered a tornado, but it's a very good indication. We also look for a debris signature. If there's any indication that there is damage, that would mean that the tornado touched the ground. Right now, I don't have any reports of damage with this particular cell, but we do know there is very heavy rain and there is hail associated with it. We also know that there is potential for damaging winds with this type of warning that is issued.
Well, we hope that everyone is staying safe. It is a holiday weekend. More people are out and about, definitely not in their homes. Not a lot of people in their homes today. It is the Sunday, just a couple days before July 4th. So even if you're not in this area and you're watching our coverage, call your loved ones, call your friends, your family, make sure that they're staying safe. And while they're indoors, you know, once they head indoors, they got to stay safe inside their home as well. Absolutely. And, you know, we always remind people to, you know, make sure they go into an interior room of their home and wait until the storms pass. I mean, a lot of, as you mentioned, people are outside. So, you know, go to the basement, go to an interior room. Make sure you stay away from the windows, because with this, potential for strong winds and flying debris is a huge concern. Yeah.
That's what's more likely to happen than anything else when you have this type of activity and this type of wind intensity.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to be watchful of.
You really have to take tornado warnings seriously. This is the only time that we are on the air nonstop, weather related, you know, besides hurricanes and such. But when there's a tornado warning, we are on the air nonstop until it has passed, because that's just how serious it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely something that we've seen a couple times today, a couple times earlier last week, that has been a very big concern, especially when you have reports of seeing videos of tornadoes, or at least funnel clouds associated with some of these warnings. So now we have the tornado warning for Chester County. So it looks like, I'm just making sure.
This is the expanded area now included.
Yes.
Right.
So now they're re-gauging and calculating the direction of this storm, and since it's moving east, it appears that
Have a couple of counties been dropped?
Yes, it appears that this is a new warning.
Okay.
And I'm going to wait for confirmation from the control room, but it almost looks.
I'll check with the National Weather Service too, Kath.
Okay. Great. Southwestern Chester County now. And we can see the cell right here. This is the cell that we're talking about. It's right now over Lancaster County, and it appears to be moving east. I'm going to do a track on this. So this would be a new warning. I'm going to put on at our sweeping radar and our storm tracks. You can see it right there.
So I'm seeing a tornado warning including West Grove, which is Chester County,
Yes.
Cochranville, Chatham until 7:30 p.m.
And what is the speed of that?
Let's see here, Kath.
Here it is. It just popped up on my radar. It is over, let's see, Homeville,
Russellville,
Bartville. A tremendous amount of rain. There's a lot of lightning associated with this, and I am going to put on our storm tracks. You can see large lightning, also hail associated with this cell. This tornado warning for Chester County until 7:30. Let's see, Route 1 is included in this. And if I could have our control room get me the warning on this so I can have the details, I'm going to do a track on this. Most of these storms have been moving eastward in the flow, east-northeast. The area of concern appears to be through Upper Oxford and through Jennersville as well. If you live in the area of Chester County, this cell is in western Chester County, or moving into western Chester County. The areas of concern with this tornado warning would be Upper Oxford. It would be there approximately at 7:16, 7:19, Faggs Manor, Green Lawn at 7:24, and Jennersville at 7:26. So this is another Doppler radar indicated tornado showing some rotation. I do have an indicator here, and you can see a lot of times we will see upper and lower rotation. You can see it right here. Tornado warning right now, obviously in Lancaster County, it is showing rotation, and the idea is that this tornado is going to continue eastward into Chester County. The tornado warning in effect until 7:30, Holmesville, Flags Manor, Upper Oxford, Jennersville, Lower Oxford, Green Lawn in the path of this storm. If you're anywhere around Route 1, coming up from the south, if you know anyone that's taking Route 1 northward or southward, please have them hold their plans until this storm passes. So this is a rotating thunderstorm, Doppler radar indicated tornado that the National Weather Service put out this warning for. As we continue to look a little bit deeper into this storm, it has frequent lightning, obviously very high rain rates between about 1 and 3 inches an hour, and we're waiting to see if there are additional storm reports associated with it. One of the things that we were talking about, Sheba, when we look at these storms, we look at the shear, we look at if there's any debris or damage associated with them, and that is something that I'm looking for right now to see if there's anything else indicated in this area with a hail or hail tracks, anything else that would indicate a rotation with this storm.
Kathy, do you mind going back to those communities in Berks and Montgomery counties to see if the tornado warning has been lifted for those areas?
Yes. So you can see right here, here is the storm, and it appears that the National Weather Service has allowed this to expire, but you can still see very heavy rain associated with it, and there was some higher level rotation. So it could have been that the threat has passed. That's what it appears in parts of Upper Montgomery right now.
And so Kathy will focus your attention on Chester now.
Yes.
Which direction is that storm headed? Is it headed to more populated areas as well?
Yes, this is heading toward the lower part of Chester County, the west, I would say the southwestern part of Chester County, and I'm going to show you the direction. I can put this into motion, and you can see as it moves eastward, it will be moving out of Lancaster County and into Chester County. And as you can see, in the last hour, it has made pretty good progress toward the east. And if we put a storm track on this, we'll be able to see the direction that it's moving. It's heading toward Upper Oxford as we speak. I mean, that's imminent. It will be passing through Lower Oxford as well. It is just to the east of 222. So if you know of anybody that's going to be driving in this area, please give them a call and let them know. If you live in this area of Chester County, please get into that interior room of your home and wait for the storm to pass. So we're talking about Lower Oxford, Green Lawn. If you live in West Marlboro, please make sure you get everyone inside and wait until this dangerous potential tornado passes. 7:24 will be in your neighborhood. It will be in West Grove by 7:28. So a tornado warning in effect for Chester County until 7:30. Doppler radar indicated spin in the atmosphere. You can see our rotation indicator. It's early rotation, but many times this is an indication as well that we have rotation that could potentially touch the ground. So when the National Weather Service sees that rotation, that is when they will put out a tornado warning. So this has potential for tornadic activity, which would include frequent lightning, hail associated with it, tropical downpours with the air mass that's over us, and of course damaging winds. So this is, we just want to make sure you're safe, make sure if anybody's going to be traveling on Route 1 in this area of Chester County, make sure that they're off the road. The rain will be coming down so heavy it would be hard to even see if a tree were falling nearby. The rain rate, when you see that 2.95, that is nearly 3 inches of rain an hour, and these are not moving quickly as we've seen seen in other storms, these can create ponding on area roads, so you never want to drive across a road that is covered with water. So that is the big threat and potential. Aside from the tornado potential, it could be a rain-wrapped tornado that you could not even see any type of damage that is going on as you drive through these locations.
And if you're just joining us, you're tuning in, and maybe you're in one of these areas, if you can safely do so, tweet us at FOX29 your videos, your weather videos, again, safely. If you're in obviously if you're in the tornado warning area, interior room or basement, but gives us an indication of what we're dealing with, what we're seeing. Is this a hail producer as well in Chester County?
Yes,
okay.
It is as well. And usually what we see, Jason, is first the thunderstorm develops, obviously lightning, heavy rain. Then the hail comes, and the next thing that would happen would be rotation with a thunderstorm if a tornado were to form, and that's what happened here. So it's a Doppler radar indicated. You can see right here the rotation off to the west associated with this, and the storm moving on eastward from Lancaster County across the border into Chester County. So that's why the National Weather Service has issued this. So the severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado, that is why the tornado warning was issued, and these are the areas of concern, and we're going to have to see how slowly this moves eastward, because this is dumping a lot of rain in a short period of time, and the slower that moves, obviously the more danger there is for flooding as well.
Kathy, how long do you anticipate this unstable weather pattern to continue in our area?
This is going to continue right through the evening. We will lose daytime heating, and when we lose the heating of the day after sunset, things typically calm down, but we are under a severe thunderstorm watch for the entire area, and that will go until 11 o'clock tonight. So we're going to be watching for the severe weather right through then.
And the spinning we're seeing to the left of the screen, Kath, that's the tornado watch icon there?
Yeah, this is an early rotation detection. So our weather system will also give us an indication of any type of rotating thunderstorm. So that is a marker that says, okay, watch this cell. This is potentially a storm that could produce a tornado. So that is what that's showing us right now. Obviously, this area right here is the area of the heaviest rain as it moves eastward, and this is the area of wind that we're concerned about moving eastward right now.
And the wind speeds at this point?
We're not certain. With a severe thunderstorm, it's at least a 60-mile-an-hour wind or greater, depending on the strength of this potential tornado. You could be 90-plus mile-an-hour winds associated with it, and that's obviously where the damage comes in. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so this is an update. We're talking about this particular tornado warning, obviously in effect until 7:30. Flying debris, obviously, would be a danger to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes we're concerned about in this area. This could have damage to roofs, windows, vehicles. Tree damage is likely as well. The areas of concern, as we've talked about before, are West Grove, Oxford, Homeville, Mount Vernon, South Coatesville, and Modena. Very populated suburbs. The storm is moving east at 20 miles an hour, as we talked about before. And as we do a track on the storm, if this storm is moving about 20 miles an hour, it is going to hit some higher populated communities. Upper Oxford at about 721. You can see Baker and Woodville as well, and it's going to be stretching a little bit farther to the east. So these are areas that have become more populated in recent years as we continue to sprawl into our suburbs. So Route 1, a very populated area as well. So I'm going to actually just draw an additional tracker on this to take it through the warning time.
And 20 miles per hour, is that pretty average for?
You know, some of these storms move a little bit faster, so they're not going to be dumping as much rain. That's why I keep talking about flooding, because at 20 miles an hour, this hasn't moved all that much. I've been talking about Upper Oxford, Lower Oxford for a while. So as the storm moves in at 20 miles an hour, it's going to dump a lot of rain, and we have very high rain rates. So flooding, a huge concern, and obviously the damaging winds as well. So Upper Oxford, Green Lawn, Jennersville, West Grove, all areas of concern with this storm, with damaging hail, damaging winds, and also obviously frequent lightning with these storms. But flying debris, huge problem with this as well with the wind.
I was just looking at Route 1. You think this is sort of the track that it's going right along Route 1?
Yeah, right along Route 1.
Kennett Square, Chadds Ford in time. So obviously more populated areas to come. But as you mentioned, there isn't a lot of movement here. This storm seems to be stuck in this area.
Yeah, and that's what happened with this other storm. Remember this we were watching up here in Pottstown? Now, this is just a very heavy rainmaker. This was the area of the previous tornado warning. And if we take a look at even the rain rates here in Lower Pottsgrove, New Hanover, these are very high rain rates. So that's over 2 inches an hour. And this hasn't moved in about an hour. So very concerned about flooding along 422 in the areas between New Hanover, along Lower Pottsgrove and Pottstown. Like this whole area could have flash flooding, even though they are not under a severe watch or warning right now. The only other storm that we're looking at, it's amazing because if you get caught underneath one of these, we have a huge concern for flooding. This tornado warning for Chester County, a very big concern, obviously. So where these storms do hit, it is a serious situation for flooding and for wind damage.
It is incredible because as you widen out, if you're in Philadelphia and parts of Jersey, it's dry. I mean, it's a pretty nice day, as a matter of fact. But as you widen out, these little violent cells are really producing, a couple of tornado warnings we've seen.
Yeah.
It's astounding to look at. I mean, look at all of that activity. So several funnel clouds have been reported.
Yes, at least 5 between our area and as you head toward central Pennsylvania. So these storms have been powerful for hours. And this cell, just popped up within the past, I would say half hour or so, this one that we're watching. So this tornado warning, we have a few more minutes on this, and we'll see if it will be expanded or if it will be allowed to expire. But with it, we're just seeing the tremendous amount of rain with these as well. And I'm wondering in this particular case, as we have seen before, sometimes they can rain themselves out. And that's what we saw up through parts of northern Montgomery County. I just showed you that cell. I think it didn't progress as fast eastward because it just continued to rain. And I think we're also talking about just a huge amount of rain here, that this storm is not moving that quickly and creating flooding concerns and wind concerns. And we're going to watch in the next couple of minutes if we're going to extend this or let this be allowed to expire because it becomes more of a rain flooding problem. But right now we are anticipating there are still damaging winds with this particular storm.
So Kath, when you say it would potentially rain itself out, does that have something to do with a temperature drop, a drop in humidity levels?
It's because it is so humid and the atmosphere is warm and humid, we just continue to see the downpours, and then this cell kind of loses its energy, and then you could see it kind of begin to dissipate or weaken as it moves eastward, because right now this is not moving that quickly. It is moving into Upper Oxford, so some very heavy rain there, and we're waiting to see how much farther it progresses eastward, because it's supposed to be past this area within the next 7 minutes, and it's not going to be moving that quickly. So anticipating very heavy rain in this area as we looked at those rain rates between 2 and 4 inches an hour, and it's been over for at least a half hour with potential for damaging winds as well. So it does get a little bit more complicated when you have these types of downpours. The storm is not going to be moving quite as quickly.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, folks, tornado warning still in effect for Chester County through 7:30. So just for the next few minutes here, Kath, can you bring us inside Chester here and the specific neighborhoods that are under this warning? Is it all of Chester County?
No, I mean, if you look at Chester County as a whole, just to get your bearings, you can see it's one part of west central Chester County into central Chester County. This was a severe thunderstorm, a tornado warning in Lancaster County and moving into Chester County. So if you're familiar with Chester County, especially the western part, Upper Pottsgrove, or I should say Upper Oxford involved in this, Homeville involved in this, Eddington as well as Faggs Manor. Some of the streets with the heavy rain and potential for a tornado. Daleville Road, Ewing Road, High Point Road. If you know anybody that lives in this area, make sure that they know to move into interior room of their home. Now, as we widen out, the storm is moving toward London Grove, Jennersville, and moving toward West Marlboro. These are the areas of Chester County they're impacting. As if the storm continues to move a little bit farther to the east, it will be along Route 1 in Pennsbury, Kennett Square, and a little bit closer to Mendenhall, some very populated areas as well as Coatesville. So this is the area that we're talking about. We talked about very heavy rain, frequent lightning, potential for very strong winds, 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds associated with this, and just a tremendous amount of rain with this as well, with the possibility of flooding.
And a tremendous amount of people potentially outdoors here on a Sunday evening, kind of a holiday weekend for a lot of people. That's why it's important to get this word out. Tornado warning indicating.
Oh boy.
What is it? What happened?
They just
extended it.
They just extended it now till 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And the area that they're looking at, obviously, we just talked about this, the possibility of extending it because it's moving so slowly. And you can see the areas that we're watching now, New Garden. I mean, this takes the warning right until the border of Newcastle County, Delaware. Hockessin just on the other side of this warning. So we're looking at New Garden, Wickerton, London Britain, Keblesville. So this is definitely on the edge of Kennett as well, right along Route 1. So, I mean, you know Route 1. I mean, this takes us right from the city, Route 1, right, like City Line Avenue, right, all the way through Delco and then into Chester County. So in Chester County, as you continue on Route 1 southward into London Grove, toward Lower Oxford, this is the area that we're talking about. So it is a Doppler radar indicated tornado that started in Lancaster County, that is moved across into western Chester County, and is expected to make it along the border of Delaware and Chester County, Newcastle County and Chester County within the next half hour. The concerns, obviously, damaging winds, potential for flooding. There will be hail and a lot of lightning associated with this. It doesn't look like a huge cell, but it doesn't have to be in this particular case.
Yeah, exactly. And all while this is happening, there was that other cell you were watching to the, I want to say, northeast. That is, any potential anywhere else of anything forming?
You know, we're watching additional cells pop up. Now, you can take a look at what's going on here in Baltimore and Washington. We have severe thunderstorms in that area, but it's only severe thunderstorms, and I don't say only, but it's not tornadic activity, but still damaging winds that could potentially cross over the Chesapeake Bay, the eastern shore of Maryland, and into Delaware. That will take some time, but that's something else that we're watching. This is our only tornado warning right now, and we're just watching additional cells popping up in Allentown, where there is some very heavy rain moving by, and also there is another cell that we're still looking at, Upper Montgomery County, seeing some very heavy rain that eventually will go into Bucks County. A lot of these are experiencing training, and what training means is after the rain moves through, behind it, it will be filled in with more precipitation. So it's going over the same area over and over again. This particular cell, this Doppler radar indicated tornado, is just moving a little bit slowly. And that is why it's been allowed to be extended into the eastern part of the county. So you can see there is a lot of lightning associated with it. We do have an early detection potential for tornadic rotation with this. And we're watching Route 1 because that is the road that this is stretching across.
That's the hot spot there, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it is just going to be moving eastward along it right now into London Grove. These areas very close as you look to the border to the south. I mean, we're looking right between, between the Maryland border. This is Cecil County, Maryland, right here along 95, and this is Chester County. So it's the southern part of Chester County that's moving right through Chester, and then this is Newcastle County, Delaware. So it's the southern part of Chester County that we're concerned about right now with this potential for a tornado.
All right, so this system is just continuing to move east, taking up more communities inside of that tornado warning, and I would assume the other communities to the west of it in Chester, has that warning expired at this point, Kath?
Right now, it looks like most of, I'm looking at all the lightning and the rotation with this, it looks like this particular cell that we're watching is stretching between the western part and the eastern part of lower Chester County. So we're keeping an eye, I'm keeping an eye on the rotation, if there's additional hail associated with this. And right now it's mainly the very heavy rain, the lightning, and the hail associated with it. So as this moves eastward, we'll be in the clear in the extreme part of Chester County, but it looks like there's another cell coming right behind it with some heavy rain. So I think the areas that we are seeing the activity in, there's potential for additional heavy rain in that vicinity as well.
Okay, so just because the tornado warning is about to expire or has expired does not mean that people are out of the woods just yet.
I think there'll be additional showers and thunderstorms, but the area of concern right now is moved out of Lancaster County and is in Chester County, in western Chester County. We talked about this moving east at 20 miles an hour, and I just want to check with the control room to see if I can have an update on this 8 o'clock extension to make sure the storm is moving at the same speed. So we talked about the hail threat with this, we talked about the flooding threat with this, we also talked about the potential for wind damage and any type of structural damage. Trees will be down as a result of these, and obviously that's our biggest concern, is really keeping everybody safe. If you live in this neighborhood or have any friends that travel or live along Route 1, make sure you give them a call, because the rain is falling so quickly and so heavily that it's the type of situation that you need to pull off to the side of the road and wait until these storms pass. You want to obviously be in a safe place. But this storm will be right around East Nottingham as we speak. 737 New London, New Garden at 740, Kemblersville at about 747, and Hocassin at 749. By the time it makes it to Hocassin, Delaware, we're expecting it to be in a weakened state, because this tornado warning is for Chester County. As you can see, it is moving eastward, but it's not moving all that quickly, and that's why there is a flooding concern in this as well. It's right about to cross right over Route 1 in western Chester County, continuing that track moving eastward.
An ultimate Doppler will indicate if somebody has reported seeing rotation or a funnel cloud. So far, ultimate Doppler not indicating that on this cell, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and many times it takes a little bit of time to get some of those reports, as well as some potential for flooding reports as well. But today we have seen numerous reports of funnel clouds, and that is something that we don't see a lot, even with tornadoes. So if they're in, a lot of people out, as you mentioned, I mean, it's a very busy weekend with a lot of, obviously, a lot of activity. Here is one from earlier, from our last cell that we were tracking. This is a report from the National Weather Service. That appears to be a funnel cloud report. And this was from a cell that was a little bit farther north. Video was received for this location of a funnel cloud south of Reading and west of Birdsboro. That was our first tornado warning a little bit earlier today, when there was a Doppler radar indicated tornado and there was video of a funnel cloud. So we've seen several reports, at least 5, between our area and western central parts of PA. I mean, look at that, between Williamsport, Harrisburg, the Lehigh Valley, and through Berks County. We've seen a number of these today. So a very active weather day. It's definitely not everywhere. I mean, it is very localized, but it is a serious situation. So in this tornado warning that started off in Lancaster County, its strength through western Chester County, it was extended till 7:30. Now this warning, and you can see right along Route 1, that is the area now moving into London Grove. Doppler radar indicated tornado, and the National Weather Service put the warning out, and it continues to extend. Dated with this storm, we're talking about right along Route 1. So anywhere from Forest Manor through Penns Grove Road, through Lewis Road, west Woodview Road, Ewing Road, this is the area of concern. Our Doppler radar indicated tornado with hail, damaging winds, of course, and the possibility of flash flooding in this area as well with very heavy rain. This is like a tropical rain situation because the humidity is pretty intense, and we haven't had anything like this in a long time.
It's been so hot and humid today, and it's still in the 80s, I believe, in most of our area, even as the sun is going down, but can't go down fast enough so things can cool off and maybe end this this situation here of multiple tornado warnings here in the last hour and a half.
Yes,
Are you surprised this thing hasn't petered out yet, Kathy?
You know, it is. I've seen two other storms today that it was very interesting how much they've stayed together and maintained their strength. And it seems like this, I mean, this is just, it's moving slowly, dumping a lot of rain, but it is maintaining its strength. So we'll see if it will continue to do so. It is moving east at about 20 miles an hour. We talked about the same speed as many of these storms today, so not extremely fast, not extremely slow, but with the humidity, I do anticipate that it is torrential, like the type of rain you have to pull off to the side of the road, like all of a sudden you have a few drops and then you can't see. Visibility is reduced significantly, and that's what I do think is happening here right now, in addition to the potential for some tornadic winds, which are obviously very scary as well.
So this thing going on till 8 p.m., you know, we don't know what's going to happen after that. It's heading to areas of central Chester, possibly Newcastle, Delaware, northern parts of Delaware as well. Hockessin, as Kathy mentioned. Anyone around Route 1 or along Route 1 from here east should be keeping very close eye on what's happening here, at least until 8 o'clock tonight.
Yes, I mean, this is something that we did anticipate there would be the threat of severe weather today. The tornado threat was low, but you know, it doesn't take much to create a little bit of spin and to create concern. So whether it is a straight line thunderstorm wind or a tornado, you know that you're going to have some type of damage associated with these storms. I mean, they are powerful storms. The atmosphere is charged with the heat and the humidity, and that's how you're going to get flooding concerns as well. Obviously, lightning associated with it. We don't have any type of damage reports on this right now, but we'll be sure to let you know if we do. Right now, this is the only severe cell in the Delaware Valley. There is potential for additional storms to be coming through as the night progresses, and I can share that with you as well, as we do anticipate that we'll be seeing more in the way of storms. In these severe storms, any of them that do develop tonight, between now and 11 o'clock, the severe thunderstorm watch is in effect. The downpours will cause flooding, the winds will cause damage, and the storms are expected to have hail in them. Throughout the day, we've been watching the heat and the humidity, and it has pretty much stuck around, and that's what we anticipate as we go through the next several hours. In this tornado warning, we just do ask everybody to be safe, go to the basement and interior room of your home, stay away from the windows, because obviously that is where we are going to, if there's any type of tree damage or anything, you could have a tree come through your window. I've experienced that myself, and it is definitely a scary thing when that happens. The severe threat will go into the day tomorrow as well. You see that area of yellow. We are going to be under another severe threat as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Our future radar shows the storms moving through, additional storms expected to pop up through the 9 o'clock hour in Delaware. Those were the storms that I talked about in the Baltimore-Washington area. So that's forecast for the 9-10 o'clock hour. Then heading closer to the shore by 11 o'clock, still seeing activity toward Philadelphia to the north and west, and then quieting down a little bit during the overnight, but a few more storms possibly moving through tomorrow morning. The severe threat right now, we're looking at Chester County, but we could be seeing another severe threat during the day tomorrow.
Keeping an eye on Twitter over here, Kathy, someone just posted, well, this was about 52 minutes ago, someone posted a video of what looks like a funnel cloud just south of Reading. They say that it sounded like a tornado in the movies. That's just how loud it was. And that was the earlier system you had been watching.
Yes, and you know, a lot of people talk about that it sounds like a freight train, and once you get to like a 90 mile an hour wind, That's the sound of a freight train, whether it's a straight line thunderstorm wind, a derecho, or whether it's a tornado. So that was the cell we were looking at earlier, the Lehigh Valley, where we saw that there was video of a tornado. We could be seeing more of that coming up. With this cell in Chester County, this originated in Lancaster County. It was a Doppler radar indicated tornado. We do have a hail indicator, the possibility of additional large hail with this. It will be a quarter size or greater with this. These storms have a history of a tremendous amount of rain in a short period of time. And we've seen that with our past several storms, where we're not just concerned about the wind, but we're very concerned with flash flooding. And it's something in the past, I'd say 5 to 10 years, has become much more of a concern in the Philadelphia area, something we hadn't been dealing with in our warmer atmosphere. The past several years, we're seeing more flash flooding, and this is going to be one of those cases. So we've seen the storm move southward of Route 1. It's really right over Route 1 right now in London Grove, Chesterville on the southern edge of the storm, and this storm is going to continue to move east. So I'm going to do one more storm track on this as it continues to move through the area. It seems to be getting a little bit more progressive at this point, and we'll take a look as it continues to move east so we can show you where it will be as we get closer toward the storm reaching its expiration. It is until 8 o'clock, but it will be in New Garden within the next minute or so. It will be in Fox Meadow at 7:48, and it will be closing in on Hocassin at 7:49. So it is expected to move pick up a little bit in speed here, because Hocassin was on the edge of the warning area. So that tornado warning in effect for Lower Chester County until 8 o'clock tonight. And you can just imagine how heavy this rain is. Being caught in this is no fun right along Route 1.
I was just thinking that along Route 1 to try to drive through this is, you cannot do so. I mean, everybody's probably pulling over in this area.
Yeah.
People may be going home after a barbecue, or maybe going to what they thought would be a fireworks show tonight in the area. This is just, it's dangerous to be along Route 1, and it continues to trek. Is it southeast?
Yeah, it's moving east, a little southeast now. It was moving eastward, but I can see a southeasterly trajectory there, just hitting New Garden, as we mentioned. And then next it will be moving a little bit farther toward Fox Meadow, which is obviously east, and then keeping an eye on London Britain as well as Hocassin, which is right on the edge here as you go into Newcastle County, Delaware. That's the rain rate, though, Jason.
Almost 5 inches an hour?
5 inches an hour.
Wow.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, that is torrential rain, and that's why I'm very concerned, obviously, about flooding in this area and right along Route 1, because we know, obviously, ponding occurs. There's poor drainage on highways. So this is just the type of rain between, you have everything, right? You have damaging winds, you have hail, you have torrential rain, and that's when visibility is very low, and that could be a concern as well.
The skies look eerie on the ground. I'm looking at another picture that a viewer posted on Twitter, and it's around the Route 896 and Route 1 area near Forestville, Chester County. I mean, a lot of rain, but the skies.
So this is the area that we're talking about. It's London Grove, Avondale. It's New Garden, where the cell is right now. Wickerton. Let's see.
Approaching Kennett Square any minute now. Just to the south of it, I suppose.
And you can see very heavy rain even far to the north, right along Route 1 as well. But this is the main area of concern right now, with that potential for rotation.
And again, that's why we're on the air. Tornado warning. We're talking about radar indicated rotation. We're talking about interior rooms and basements. If you can wait this out just a little bit. 20-mile-an-hour storm right now. So if you're in this area, especially in the darker red and red areas, Kathy, or just basically circle the areas of concern right now. Just that whole cell?
Yeah, pretty much this whole cell. I mean, that's where we're seeing, through London Grove, right along Route 1, New London on the west side, Chesterville on the southern side, going up toward New Garden.
Yeah.
This entire area, I know I did it in yellow, which doesn't help too much, but you can see right here, this is the area of concern. The heavy rain, we're talking about rain rates 3 inches to 5 inches an hour in this area. So you could have a rain-wrapped tornado. Visibility obviously very poor, and this thing moving east at about 20 miles an hour. Now, it is expected to get very close to Delaware. This is Newcastle County, Delaware. That's the border right there. There's Hocassin, and here's Fox Meadow, which is in just outside the warning area. So this storm is moving eastward, obviously. Very heavy rain. It's become a little bit more elongated here with the rain, intense thunderstorms, and the potential for damaging winds with the tornado. Right along 41 south, that goes right into Delaware. If anybody's traveling along, we know Route 1, so it's in this lower part of Chester County, and some of this heavy rain moving toward Longwood as well. Famous for Longwood Gardens, some of the heavy rain, but that is not in that tornado warning area. That's the good news.
I was just looking along 41 there, which goes about southeast, and there's, you know, a lot of businesses. There's Lowe's, there's lots of restaurants along 41. These are areas that people might be out and about here right now. Restaurants, CVS, you know, just a lot of areas right now where people might be out and in harm's way. If you are out, if you are not home, Kathy, do you pull in? You run into a department store if you can? What do you do? Sure,
absolutely. If there's a, you know, anywhere that seems to be safe, if it's a local Wawa or if it's a mall or if it's, you know, any place that you think you could get away from the windows and inside safely into some type of a sheltered area, that's what you want to do and wait until the storm passes. You definitely don't want to wait it out in your car, that's for sure. This tornado warning, as you can see, the southern edge of it in the lower part of Lancaster County and Chester County and extending through Chester County toward Delaware. I think that is new. Do you see that? Let's see. Let me see my storm tracker. This just popped up.
Yeah.
And it looks like it is in Chester County. Let me see. This is a storm track. This is a storm report. Okay,
Rotating
a spotter
wall
reports
cloud.
rotation, a wall cloud with a funnel cloud at this location. So here is another report from a spotter for the National Weather Service that said that they saw a wall cloud, which would be that rotating thunderstorm, and a funnel cloud come out of it at this location. So let's zoom out and see exactly where that is.
Is that near Millerstown? I'm seeing something on Twitter with...
Yeah, it's right, let's see, I'm gonna take this off so we can see clearer. Yeah, it's right to the south of Upper Oxford. That's where, wow, that's amazing, because if you look at this area, I'm gonna take the storm tracks off and I'm gonna take the lightning off. I'm gonna keep the warning on. But this is another indication of obviously a Doppler radar indicated tornado, but also ground truth with this a funnel cloud and a wall cloud spotted. I mean, it's amazing with storm spotters and cell phones and, you know, higher populated areas. This was right along Webb Road, and I believe this, I can't see that interstate that clearly, but this is right in the center in Chester County, southern Chester County near Penns Grove Road, and in the western part of the county. As the storm moved across Lancaster County, crossed into Upper Oxford and into Chester County, there was a video of a wall cloud and a funnel cloud. So once again, that is the ground truth, verifying what is seen on Doppler radar is indeed even more likely to be a tornado when you see a funnel cloud. Now remember, a funnel cloud is a rotating column of air that comes down out of the thunderstorm, and it has to touch the ground before it is considered a tornado. But when you see a funnel cloud and then you see the rotation on the radar, and then somebody actually takes a video or takes a picture of a funnel cloud, it's very likely that that will touch the ground, and that is why we have the tornado warning, and that is why the tornado warning was extended. It was extended until 7:30, and then it was extended until 8 o'clock, most likely in addition to the rotation on Doppler radar of seeing that video. So that is another indication. That's probably the 6th funnel cloud report that we've had between central and southeastern Pennsylvania today, and that's a lot.
What does the wall cloud mean, Kathy?
The wall cloud is the cloud that you would see with the genesis of the tornado. So you'd see the rotation of the thunderstorm, you'd see the wall cloud, and then you would see the rotating column of air beginning to come down, descend from the severe thunderstorm cloud, the wall cloud.
Now, we've got about 10 minutes now until this expires. This stubborn, strong storm that just continues to produce, you name it, rain, hail, potential rotation in the clouds. And would you be surprised to see this extended, or would you not be surprised?
You know, at this point, I think it's a 50-50 at this point. It could go either way. I mean, we know that it's definitely dumping a lot of rain. We're going to just have to see if that rotation is still there and lasts throughout the county. This is a really long time to see a storm survive with its intensity.
Right.
But considering that we have the humidity and that extra charge in the atmosphere, you know, it's something that we don't see often, but we have seen. So we're looking at this area right now, and you can see the heavy rain being extended eastward. This is the Newcastle County border. So the heavy rain already pushing into parts of central Chester County and heading toward northern Newcastle County, Delaware. So I'm going to actually just pull out a little bit and show you where this is in relation to even Philadelphia. So you can see, obviously, this is one small cell, but it is making a very big impact on part of our region in Chester County. And this has been going on for, wow, almost an hour now, this particular cell.
Is the speed the same at this point, or what could slow it down or speed it up?
Well, you know, I mean, the storm could continue to create more downpours as it moves eastward, and the rain, it could slow down as the rain comes down heavier. And as it moves eastward, depending on the atmosphere. So the sun has been out today. If it encounters an area that is even more unstable due to the heat, humidity, and sunshine of the day, then that could help energize it, and it could continue farther east. So as we get toward sunset, there is a benefit. The sun is lower in the sky, you have less heating going on, and that could help these storms diminish. So as the evening goes on, we're hoping that anything that pops up will be in a weaker form.
Okay.
Looks like.
Are there any storms headed for Philadelphia tonight, Kathy?
Right now, no. This storm, you can see, is not that far away from Philadelphia, but right now we're not expecting this to go in that direction. If I did like a distance on it, we're far enough away that this storm would be most likely to head into Delaware.
And how are the shore communities looking?
Right now, the shore looks good. I mean, the one thing that I've been watching is this group of storms. Remember I mentioned this near Baltimore and Washington? I said it's going to cross the Chesapeake into the eastern shore of Maryland. It is, and this is a cluster of severe thunderstorms. And I do expect these to survive into central Delaware. So I would say, like in the next hour or so, parts of central Delaware will see most likely see these storms moving into your area from Smyrna through Dover potentially, so we're going to keep an eye on those as well. There is some early rotation in these, and that is something that we will be very watchful of for Delaware.
But not enough to produce a tornado warning there, correct?
Not right now.
Okay.
Not right now. So this is our only tornado warning. We saw there was video of this particular potential tornado in the form of a funnel cloud earlier today. And actually, I've just noticed additional funnel cloud reports, obviously 2 in Berks County, 1 in northern Berks County, not far on 78 near Kutztown. That was a tornado warning earlier today. And then that second tornado warning south of Reading, there was video. And now we have video of this in Chester County. So having video of 3 potential tornadoes in one day is amazing for this part of the country, for sure.
And so how soon would the National Weather Service head out and assess the damage and determine whether those are in fact tornadoes?
When you have already have video of it, and if they hear about the damage, which will be reported in the next several hours, depending on if that damage matches what they think is happening according to the radar and the video that they've seen, I would assume they would be out probably tomorrow and go out and assess the damage. This particular cell is still looking pretty strong over the region. I'm trying to see if there's any hail. I don't see a lot of lightning or hail with this right now, and that would mean that there obviously could be potential for damaging winds, but I'm still very concerned about the rain with this. It seems that it's moved somewhat. It's moved a little bit faster. It's moved out of London Grove. It's moved out of the places that it was dumping a lot of rain. But it's in Chesterville. It's in, let's see, just north of London, Britain, and this is the area that we're concerned with now. Sullivan Road, near Southwood. If you know anybody that's in this neighborhood near Skyline Drive or Laurel Bridge Road, even Cooper Hawk Lane, this is where the heaviest rain is right now, and it is coming down in buckets. So right along Route 1 still, and heading into Delaware as we speak, as far as the heavy rain is concerned.
We're still looking at nearly 5 inches an hour. As you take a look down there at that cell.
Let's take a look right there. No, that is not.
Okay, so
it's
now
not working with me right now. Oh, there you go.
Closer
4
to
inches.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is maintained as far as the downpours and visibility as this cell moves across the lower part of Chester County. You're still talking about 3 to 5 inches an hour. So you're still talking about flooding downpours with this. So it is moving into like a very unstable air mass, which makes sense. It's been warm, it's been humid, so as this moves east, it is just pouring. It's like taking a sponge that you dipped in water and you're just kind of wringing out the atmosphere, and it's just continuing as it moves eastward. So this is very heavy rain associated with this. This is the area of concern for the tornado, and we're going to see as we get closer to 8 o'clock if this will be allowed to expire. Right
and gusty
now,
winds as well.
yeah, very. Yeah. So we're talking winds associated with this would be in the order of 90 miles an hour in even a lower end tornado.
With tornado warnings, the imminent danger is present. That's why we're on the air right now to tell you folks in this area that's rectangular in red here that this is where you want to seek shelter, basements, interior rooms away from windows. A decision will be made shortly. If it does expire and there are no tornado warnings, we'll return you to regular programming. But until there is a danger in our community, it's our goal here to stay on the air and try to give you the life-saving information you need on this Sunday evening. A lot of people taking a long weekend. It's a holiday weekend, and this is just one stubborn, strong storm through Chester, now soon Newcastle County, Delaware.
Yeah, so the heavy rain is moving into Delaware right here, and we'll see if this is strong enough to extend the warning eastward into Newcastle County. But keeping a careful eye on this right now, because you could see it's heading toward Pike Creek. It's in Hocassin. We have heavy rain there right now. And the heaviest a little bit farther to the south, the southeastern corner near North Star. But this is the area where the storm is. There's a couple, let's see. It appears that they just extended this into Newcastle County, Delaware.
But they have not updated the time.
They haven't updated the time yet.
Okay.
Till 8:30. So I'm talking to the control room right now. If you guys could do me a favor and get the new tornado warning that's been issued and bring it to me, I'd appreciate that to see if we've changed the speed and direction on this. Let's see.
Hocassin and Claymont now is part of this new extension of the tornado warning. So this definitely taking shape, taking aim at Delaware at the moment, and eventually into Jersey once it goes over the Delaware.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. In the summer months, the water along the Delaware, and we talked about earlier about the Chesapeake, it's warm and humid, and it's a source. It's a fuel source. We're not deep in the summer yet to have it be extremely warm, but this water is over 70 degrees for sure, maybe 75 degrees. So we're going to see if it will continue across, obviously, the water, the bay, and into parts of Salem County. So right now we're looking at a tornado warning. It was in Lancaster County. Then it moved into western Chester County. Then it seems to have picked up some type of speed, and it's moving across the border into Delaware, into Hocassin and Pike Creek as we speak. So we're going to continue to track this. It appears to be moving east, pretty much eastward, even though the warning area takes it a little bit southeast toward 95. And now we get into another problem with this, because as it continues in this direction, now we have 95 included in this. 95 that goes right through Wilmington and heads toward Christiana as it goes on into parts of Delaware and on into Maryland. So the tornado warning in effect for Chester County, and it has been expanded into Newcastle County until 8:30. So we're going to do a track on this storm to show the areas that will be impacted by it. I'm putting on our lightning track, and I'm checking to see how much hail we have associated with this as well. So if we do a track on this, and we'll be able to put up our Wilmington cam and be able to see this storm as it moves through Wilmington. But in this direction and this speed, we'll be seeing it move through these counties. Thank you so much. So we're talking about around 8 o'clock, which is right now. We can see the storm closing in on Pike Creek, then Newport at about 8:06, Edgemoor at 8:11, and Penns Grove at 8:15. So a new tornado warning in effect for Chester County, eastern Chester County, and Newcastle County, the northwestern corner of Chester County, until 8:30 tonight. But it is going to cross over that whole northern part of Newcastle County, expected in the next half hour. So this just in from the National Weather Service. It was at 7:49, a picture was sent via social media of a probable tornado on the ground near New London, Pennsylvania. So it was a social media picture of a tornado on the ground. So there's a very good possibility that this tornado that they took the picture of, that we saw, that there was a report of a funnel cloud, that there was a tornado on the ground, and it was located over North Star. So now they're saying a confirmed tornado was located over North Star or near Newark, moving east at 20 miles an hour. So I am going to do a track on that right now so that we can track that. So the area that we're talking about is, we just talked about North Star. This is the area right here, North Star in Newark. So it was a picture of a tornado, and they said public confirmation of a confirmed tornado over North Star or Newark, moving east at 20 miles an hour. So I'm going to do a tracker on this, guys, and we'll be able to see the communities that are being impacted by this tornado. A tornado on the ground, so obviously a serious situation. This storm is moving east at 20 miles an hour, and at that speed and direction, we're talking about many communities in the path of this particular storm, and we're going to read those off for you as well. So I'm going to zoom out to give us more coverage, because this is has a potential of covering a pretty wide area. So the storm's moving east from North Star at 20 miles an hour. It's also going to be dumping an enormous amount of rain as well, because it's not moving that quickly. Tornado on the ground being reported in Chester County, moving into Newcastle County, Delaware. At this speed and direction, moving east at 20, will be at Pikes Creek at 8:07. Let's see, Greenville at 8:16, Ellesmere at 8:22, and Wilmington at 8:28. It's a confirmed tornado, a damaging tornado, being reported at about 7:49, moving east at 20 miles an hour. It's very rare that you get confirmation of a tornado on the ground. The areas of concern: Wilmington, Newark, Ellesmere, Kennett Square, Newcastle, Newport, Greenville, Stanton, North Star, Tallyville, Landenberg, Wilmington Manor, Pike Creek, Hocassin, Ashland, Avondale, even Ardentown and Ardencroft. If you are in this vicinity of northern parts of Newcastle County, Delaware, make sure you get to an interior room of your home, away from the windows or in the basement, until this storm passes. This is a tornado warning for northern Newcastle County in Delaware until 8:30. It is a confirmed tornado that was located over North Star, and this moving east at 20 miles an hour. So flying debris, dangerous with those caught without shelter. Anyone that's outside, if anybody's traveling down 202, or anyone you know is traveling along 495, give them a call and tell them that they need to pull over, get somewhere safe, and make sure they are not in the path of the storm. This is the area we're talking about, and guys, it is very rare, as I mentioned, that there is confirmation of a tornado on the ground. The last time I remember that was Hurricane Sandy. So this is very unusual to see. This storm is moving east at 20. It's going to really put out a lot of rain in a short period of time, as well as damaging winds as it moves eastward.
And with that confirmed tornado on the ground, do you anticipate an upgrade of a tornado emergency by the National Weather Service? Is that the next level up from a tornado warning?
You know, right now I wouldn't, but we will have to wait and see, because I think that with this, they would definitely let us know as soon as something like this was put out. So I'm just gonna take a look at that warning that we have, and of course that storm report, and it's right here. Let's see, this is our second report, but if this was near Newark and North Star, Newark's down here, so soon we're gonna get some kind of an indication of a tornado on the ground, and that will be popping up. But this seems to be new, that I just saw pop up on Public said in video social media of a probable tornado on the ground near New London. Okay, so that was previously, and now there is another picture of a tornado. Well, that was it. That was the one in New London. This is the current warning, the social media picture in New London. Public confirmation of a tornado at 7:49. A picture was sent via social media of a probable tornado on the ground near New London, and that is why this warning has been extended.
Okay, and the unusual part of this is that normally the National Weather Service would be on the ground to confirm, and they are confirming now?
Well, the unusual part is having so many pictures sent in, but you know, we're getting into more highly populated areas. Everybody's outside today. Yeah. So when you see a Doppler radar indicated tornado, you see the spin in the atmosphere and you put out a tornado warning. Now you're getting reports from the ground from people outside who are saying, yes, look, I just took a picture. There is a funnel cloud. And that gives you more confidence that, yeah, and this could definitely touch the ground and be a tornado. Well, this was actually a picture of the storm touching the ground in New London, and that's why the National Weather Service said, okay, tornado on the ground. This storm is continuing to move east. We're watching it move over the eastern part of Chester County over to Newcastle County, Delaware, crossing the state line, and this will continue to move east at about 20 miles an hour. So keeping its strength through Lancaster County, through Chester County, into Newcastle County is interesting. It could be one tornado that it extends for a period of time, possibly lifts, comes back down. We don't assume that it's been on the ground for 3 counties, but we're going to have to wait and see what the Weather Service says when they take a look at the surveying the damage. We do have the warning in effect until Chester County and Newcastle until 8:30, but you can see as the storm moves out of Chester and into Newcastle, we will be dropping the Chester County warning pretty soon, because the storm is pretty much out of there, just a little bit on the eastern side of Chester County right now. But Pike Creek in the way of the storm, there is a history of large hail associated with this, obviously damaging winds and very heavy rain. And we're just going to take a look in the last 15 minutes to check on the direction to see if it's continuing to move in that easterly direction, and it is. The movement has been east at 20 miles an hour.
It's still 20 miles per hour,
yeah,
okay.
That
right,
is
so it's still a slow mover.
Yeah, so it is still dumping a large amount of rain. We've seen rain rates of 3, 4, 5 inches in the past hour or so. And as we take a zoom in, these are the areas of concern. You can see right here, Spring Valley, Greenville, the Cedars, Silverbrook, Ellesmere, and here are the highways. It's Route 7, Route 41, through Greenville, and you can see we're heading toward 95 in this warning as well, toward Wilmington. The heavy rain hasn't gotten to Wilmington yet, but it definitely will within the next 10 minutes or so. So this storm, as I mentioned, it's moving east at 20 miles an hour. That speed and direction has been fairly consistent, and I'm going to take it all the way eastward here, and we're going to see how quickly it's going to even get in the Wilmington area. It will be in Spring Valley by 8:11. That's just a couple minutes away. It will be in the Cedars by 8:16. It will be in Greenville by 8:19, and even in Wilmington by 8:29. A tornado warning with a tornado reported on the ground in Chester County, moving east at 20 miles an hour, moving out of Chester County and into Newcastle County, Delaware. And that warning will continue for the next 20 minutes unless the storm weakens and is allowed to expire. There was a picture sent to the National Weather Service from social media of a probable tornado on the ground near New London, Pennsylvania, and there was rotation of Doppler radar, and that is why the National Weather Service continued the warning and extended it into Newcastle County, Delaware.
You can't help but to look ahead to Wilmington, I-95, eventually over the Delaware. In fact, the National Weather Service issued a special marine warning talking about the potential for water spouts when that happens. That's probably over a half an hour away from right now, or maybe about 25 minutes away, but we will track this all throughout, and we still have at least 20 minutes here before this potential cell gets to Wilmington and possibly expire or will be extended. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's been incredible to see how long it has lasted, for sure, through the three counties. Now we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. We talked about this. This was the cell that was in Washington, D.C. not that long ago. We talked about it crossing over the Chesapeake and kind of fueling the storm. And now we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Kent County, Delaware, and that is until 9 o'clock tonight. So we're going to keep an eye on this. There's a lot of lightning with it. There's some hail and some gusty winds. It is not tornadic right now, but if you are in central Delaware, be aware that a severe thunderstorm is moving your way with potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. Elsewhere, we do not have anything that is severe, but we do have spotty thunderstorms in Upper Bucks and Montgomery counties right now. And as you can see, the National Weather Service allowed Chester County to expire because the activity now is in Newcastle County, Delaware, and the tornado warning remains in effect until 8:30 this evening.
Okay, so the tornado warning expired for Chester, but significant activity still in that county. How does the National Weather Service even determine how long to keep this tornado warning up for? Is it a combination of the social media posts and what they're seeing on the Doppler?
Yeah, you know what? They'll watch the Doppler radar as far as the hail indicators and the shear indicators. A lot of times as the storms move east, they will weaken if they get into a more stable environment. But right now we're seeing this storm pretty much keep its momentum. It looks like it's that area of red, the intense part of the storm, has compressed a little bit, but
it
we
looks
still
a bit
know that,
smaller.
Yeah, it looks a little bit smaller than it did earlier, but we do know that there is still damaging winds and an enormous amount of rain in that as well, and that heavy rain is already making it to Wilmington and I-95. I don't know if we have our Wilmington cam available, but this is the beginning of the issues for 95. So you get into the area, the warning area, you have 202, or is that 201? That's 202, right? 295, you have 95, you have 495, you have 13, and all this moving toward the east into Tavistock. It's heading toward Upper Chichester. So you're getting into a much more populated area as this moves eastward. So you have very heavy rain and poor visibility on top of the potential for a tornado on the ground in Newcastle County, Delaware. So there is a lot of potential danger and hazards here on the area roads.
We're watching that right now. It looks like those two little red blips there. Looks like Hockessin seems to be taking the brunt of it right now, but it's headed toward Wilmington here. You said 8:29 is when it's expected to arrive there. You usually have a good timetable there on the right part of your screen to give us an exact time to expect it in each city, and there it is.
Yep.
Okay, so it's extending beyond 8:30 here to Edgemore, South Wilmington at 8:33, and then Wilmington at 8:28.
Let's take a look at the Wilmington camera right now. Is the crux of the storm, the strongest part of the storm is not there just yet, but some of the heavy rain is moving into Wilmington as we speak, and wow, that is a towering.
That's an odd-looking
cloud.
to the. Is that the wall cloud that we hear about on the right?
You know, it is you can see a very highly stacked vertical cloud, a part of definitely part of the severe cell. You can see how it's just blinding and blocking the sun as the storm begins to move in. So that is the eastern edge of it. The stronger part of the storm is still to the west, but it's not that far away. And this storm is expected to be in the Wilmington area in the next 15 minutes.
Or is that just downpour, perhaps?
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes
a lot of times you can see, like, it looks a little foggy at the bottom of the screen, on the bottom of the cloud, and that's just it pouring with the cell moving closer. But the main cell, the main potential tornadic activity is farther to the west right now, still over parts of Hocassin, moving towards Swallow Hill, and shortly will be in Ellesmere at about 8:22. So right now it's over the Cedars, and it is moving toward Wilmington as we speak. But the sky's looking ominous for sure. And I think if you look at the picture, I think this, on the right side of the screen, that could be a downpour.
Right.
Where you can't see the sun pulling through. I think that is an absolute downpour as we look toward the west.
And imagine trying to drive through that. And now we have to anticipate that kind of downpour hitting I-95 and some really, really congested roadways here tonight. So if you've got anybody driving either north or south on I-95 through this area, and we're going to pan to the right and kind of get a better look at this. Hard to tell if that's a downpour or just an odd-looking cloud.
Yeah,
that is bizarre.
It is from that picture. It is difficult to tell.
Yeah, the skies are very ominous tonight. We've been seeing a number of pictures hit social media as this cell moves through the area, alerting the National Weather Service to what they're seeing out there. We've seen some wall clouds, some what look like funnel clouds, just ominous.
And this is obviously our Wilmington camera. Are we looking north here? It's hard to tell. You said the storm is to the west of this.
Yes, yes. The storm is to the west. Right now, Wilmington getting into some of the heavier rain. I'm not really sure how that camera is oriented, but the cell, the main concern, is to the west right now. And I could try to see how far west. Let's see.
Just be careful.
It's not
out
far.
there.
It's about 5 miles west.
Yeah, and that would be what we're looking at.
Yeah, that appears to be the downpour associated with it, and that cloud is definitely a towering cumulus cloud.
Huh.
There's some more. And I believe I-95 is to the left of your screen that we just panned past as you drive through Wilmington.
Yes, so where you were would be to the west, where
Right.
the storm is coming from.
That's where we were. So we were looking right at the storm.
That's what we were looking at, yes. Now that we see where this camera is located. Because the storm is to the west of 95. So if our view is crossing 95 and it is westward, then that cloud is part of the storm that we're talking about. So if we could pan a little bit farther to the west, that is the direction that the storm is coming from. A little bit farther over.
Keep going. Yeah, that's not a lot of cars on I-95 right now, and that's a good sign. Perhaps people are calling people and letting them know, get home. That's it right there.
I mean,
That's
once
it.
you see that,
Can we pan a little bit more, or is that as far as our camera goes?
once you see that, it's time to head indoors.
Yeah, and at this point, there's no rain in this area. It's kind of peaceful.
That is it.
That's the cell we're watching. That's the one, and it's ominous with the sunset behind it. You can kind of get a look at the shapes of the clouds and just that straight up and down, north and south cloud to the right of your screen just a little bit. It's just so clear to see.
Just to the right, the far right edge, that is rain pouring down.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
See how it looks a little fuzzy?
Yeah.
Yes.
that is like a rain shield, just like pouring down. If you take a look at, I drew a distance here on Ultimate Doppler that you could see the distance from I-95 to where that heavy rain is, and it's probably only 3 miles by now. So it's moving fairly quickly now, just to the west.
It's 10 minutes away from Wilmington at the moment.
Yes, and that is what is going to be closing in on Wilmington. So if I draw a distance here, here's 95, that's where our picture is, and here is the edge of that storm. It's only 3 miles.
Got it. So we are looking 3 miles out there to a, for now, dry Wilmington.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming in fairly quickly. So we're going to do another storm track. I'm picking up some lightning. I'm not picking up a lot of lightning, but intense downpours with this storm, and obviously potential for damaging winds. I'm not seeing a lot of hail with this right now either, but I'm going to put on my storm tracks. There's the rotation. The rotation, that's early rotation, but we do have confirmation that there was a probable tornado on the ground, a picture via social media. We're going east at 20 through where the warning area is, and these are locations that are in the path of this storm. By 821 Greenville, it's right on your doorstep. In Ellesmere at 824, in Wilmington at 831, that's been a consistent time. It's only about 3 miles away. And Belafonte, 836, and Edgemore at 838. So we're going to keep a careful eye on this area with reduced visibility, obviously, with this storm. It's not a large storm, but it's an extremely powerful storm to warrant a tornado warning for Lancaster County, then Chester County, now Newcastle County, Delaware, as this storm has moved into a very unstable atmosphere of heat and humidity today and rotation within the thunderstorm, creating a tornado warning. The National Weather Service received a picture of a funnel cloud and then confirmed the tornado at 7:49 when they got a picture sent via social media of a tornado on the ground in New London, Chester County. And that is why we've been tracking this storm so closely for at least the half hour or so, but over an hour with this cell that's moved across 3 counties.
And of course, Wilmington has an airport, PHL not too far. We're going to have to check on delays and cancellations there. You would imagine they are going to have to wait this out here at least the next 30 minutes and let this storm pass. Their PHL just to the north of there. There you get a good look, though. The rest of our area, just beyond this cell, nothing really going on in this particular shot. I know that you're watching those thunderstorms in Delaware, and there they are. Okay, no delays at PHL. Wilmington, it'd be hard to believe there isn't a delay, but of course it's a smaller airport, so there may not be a lot of flights coming out or leaving.
Kathy, does it appear that this system, this cell, is weakening? You said you're not seeing as many lightning strikes on the Doppler here. You know what I'm not seeing? I'm seeing lightning. I'm not seeing as much as I do sometimes with other cells, but it seems like what we've seen today is less hail and lightning and more flooding and wind. I think the flooding and the wind dangers are immense with all of these storms that have popped up today. I haven't seen extreme amount of lightning. Sometimes we do with these severe storms. Sometimes hail is crazy and large. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing the funnel cloud reports, the rotation being obviously an issue, and the humidity and instability adding to potential for flooding. So that seems to be the calling cards with the storms that we've seen today. It's not every day we're on the air for 2+ hours regarding tornado warnings. What would you say is unusual about today so far, Kathy?
Really, the social media reports confirming funnel clouds, wall clouds, tornadoes on the ground. It's great because it really gives us more evidence of what's really going on there. So you have the radar that shows rotation, and we get early warnings, and there's ways to check for that. But also, when you don't have as much lightning or as much hail, if someone sees a funnel cloud, that gives you more what we call ground truth. So the radar is telling us what it's seeing in the atmosphere, but what's actually happening? Is it touching the ground? And when you have people that can show us pictures via social media and send reports, that helps confirm and to keep people safe. And that type of information is invaluable when you have a storm like this.
Yeah, it's proof the system is working, the information technology are accurate, and we continue to watch this cell make its way closer to Wilmington and produce rain, hail, a little bit of lightning, and we have no indication yet on what will happen at 8:30 as far as will this be allowed to expire as it goes over the Delaware.
Yeah, we're going to keep a careful eye on this, guys. These are the areas that we're talking about. If you're familiar with Route 52 right through Greenville, of course 141, 100, through Spring Valley, the Cedars, Ellesmere, that's where the storm is right now. It's not that far away from Wilmington. It's within a couple of miles. It is moving east at 20 miles an hour, and if I had to put a distance from I-95 in Wilmington to the edge of the storm, it's a mile away. So if we could take a look at get our Wilmington cam back up there and see, it would probably look much more ominous.
A little darker.
As we head toward I-95, because this storm is right about to move over it. We have a heavy cell over Claymont, very heavy rain, but that's not severe. But it looks like a terrible, oh boy, there it is.
Wow.
There it is. I mean, you can see the sun behind it, right?
You can see more of the sun now.
Yeah. And here, I mean, this cloud is enormous. Wouldn't it be crazy if we saw a funnel?
Oh my. Well, we certainly have the view. I mean, we're several stories up, and can we pan right a little bit? And I kind of want to see what happens. We believe that's rain to the far right of your screen, just a downpour coming down that's just sort of being backlit by the sun that is setting, and there is, we believe that's rain just pouring down, and we'll have to look to see just how much rain an hour, Kathy, is coming down there. But
yeah, let's take a look. There's also hail associated with this, the potential for large hail. Our hail indicators really getting active again. Typically with these types of cells you have a rotating thunderstorm, obviously lightning, hail, and then your funnel cloud. That's usually the order in which we see this happening. As we look at the rain rates, that's what's been extremely impressive with these storms. Right around Greenville, you can see it's 3 inches an hour. So it's compact. The area is not large, but it is intense, enough to have this tornado warning continue through 3 counties into the evening.
We were looking right to the west of Wilmington, right where you see that big red blotch on Ultimate Doppler. That was it, and you can see that's the downpour right there, and it's about about 1 mile away from Wilmington.
Yeah, 1 mile west. Okay. It's already in Lancaster Court. It's right along Route 100, 141, and it will be closing in on 95 shortly. It's not that far away, a couple of neighborhoods away. And this warning continues for the next 3 minutes, and we'll see if the National Weather Service extends it. Right now, it goes right up until the Delaware River. And we're seeing some heavy rain on 495 and 95 heading up through Chester County, through Chester, and possibly making its way into Philadelphia. We'll keep an eye on that, but right now it is into Delco as well.
It's got to be such a scary situation for all of these communities that have been impacted by this tornado warning today, because we are still trying to figure out what the damage reports are at this point. But just looking at that monster cloud in the Wilmington area just gives you an idea of what these neighborhoods and what these neighbors are facing. If you are impacted by this, please reach out to us. Tweet us. You can tweet Jason, myself, Sheba, Kathy, FOX29. Tweet us, show us the pictures, but please be safe out there while you're taking pictures. But our hearts do go out for all of these communities today, because it's one thing that we're sitting here reporting on this system coming to your neighborhood. It's another when you're just sitting there waiting for it to come to your neighborhood.
And I want to get confirmation, Sheba, from the control room. Can you repeat that, Aaron? Okay, we just got confirmation that this tornado warning will be allowed to expire at 8:30 this evening. We're We're going to continue to watch it, obviously, until it expires, but it's only a couple minutes away. Here is 95, here is Wilmington. This is the severe cell, so it has shown signs of weakening, the rotation weakening. So I do anticipate at 8:30 this will become a severe thunderstorm warning and continue eastward across the bay and into South Jersey, Salem County. But this tornado warning for Newcastle County until 8:30, we've just gotten word that it will be allowed to expire. That is the good news.
That's great news, and it's still a cause for concern, obviously, for the massive rain and flooding and a highly populated area, and of course, off-traveled route of I-95. So we'll see what happens there. And your ultimate Doppler will update in real time when that expires, correct?
Yes. And we will get indicators and alarms that will go off through our weather center and up through our control room to let us know that indeed that it will be expiring. You can see the areas of concern right now. There's hail associated with this, very heavy rain, and it's closing in on 95, Route 9, in Ellesmere 2, Route 4, Route 34, 52, 21, 92, 95, 495. So if anybody's in this area, make sure they stay off the road and wait until the storm passes. Of course, right now, like clockwork at 8:30, the warning has expired, and this will probably turn into some type of a severe thunderstorm warning or watch. We'll keep an eye on it, but at least the tornadic threat has expired, guys. That is the good news, so thank you.
And if another tornado warning happens, God forbid, we will be here for you to track it here at Fox 29. It's just been one of those nights, over 2 hours on the air tracking this cell. It has been so stubborn, but now it is a severe thunderstorm warning. Or was that, no, we just saw something else? That was what we were looking at.
Yeah,
that's what you're watching.
This is the warning for Kent County, Delaware.
Yes.
That's until 9 o'clock. And right now, I haven't seen a warning go out for this cell, but if it does, of course, we will let you know.
Okay. And stay tuned for Fox 29 News at 10 and 11 because we'll be staying on top of these areas to see if there have been any damage reports coming in. Kath, great job out there.
And we just want to let the folks at home know we apologize for the soccer game. If you were really trying to watch this, this is life-saving information. We are trying to get out there, and so we're doing our best to try to keep everyone safe out there, while also still showing you, the sporting event on the left side of your screen. Not ideal, I know, but this is what happens here when we have severe weather in our area. So, Kathy, are we going off the air now?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to go back to programming.
All right.
We want to thank everyone for their patience,
Yes.
and we just want to keep everybody safe. Have a good night.
Okay.